there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsden.
And I am the messenger from beyond the grave.
Oh man, what does the messenger from beyond the grave have to say today?
Jay Logsden, you have subverted the will of the wheel. Not once, but twice. We sent you a light warning the first time with Trapped Alive, but now you must suffer the consequences of the American scream for your transgressions. Do not alter fate. That is all.
Okay, well, I was justified this time. We had just done, we did Silent Night, Deadly Night a while ago. I didn't want to do another Killer Santa movie, and we literally had just done a Killer Santa movie. So I was justified this time. I agree. Last time I screwed up. We should have done Darkest Night, but
Oh, so you're taking the Eustace tact. I say return the slab, and you say, what's your offer?
Return the slab or suffer my curse. That might be the scariest episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
That's pretty creepy. That or the weirdo who comes and cuts their hair and stuff.
Very naughty. Oh, speaking, hold on real fast. Happy birthday. It is your special day. Happy birthday. We're always here to say, oh, happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday from J Logsden to you. Happy birthday, Jeff.
What's in here?
Tell everybody what the bag says.
Happy birthday, beautiful.
Yeah.
I appreciate you finally acknowledging that. A Chewbacca squishy little toy. Perfect for me. Sweet Mandalorian Lego set.
It's got Mandalorian and
got Grogu down there.
Yeah.
Got the N1 Starfighter. Sweet.
It doesn't have Amy Sedaris. I'm sorry about that.
Well, you can't have everything.
And there's one last little guy in there.
Oh, nice. You got one of me. One of my favorite characters, Jabba the Hutt. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, buddy. Happy birthday. Now with all the fun, exciting stuff out of the way, let's get into it. Let's deck the halls for 1988's The American Scream.
Oh, no.
We'll just rip the Band-Aid off now.
Oh, I guess.
Pretty sure this was a direct-to-video release.
Yeah.
I could not find an exact release date.
I never found anything that said it came out theatrically, and I could see why.
I could not either find a budget nor, how much money it made on VHS, so probably not that much for either of them.
Yeah.
Written and directed by Mitchell Linden, whose only writing, directing credit on IMDb, but did list him as the camera and electrical on Lone Star, which was my grandpa's favorite movie, with Chris Christopherson and other people.
Others.
Co-written by Phil Hopper. That's it. That's the only thing I have for old Phil there. Pons Maar, who plays the dad, Ben Benzinger, was the lead puppeteer on Monkey Bone, one of my favorite movies. And did work on the dinosaurs. I think he played the mama.
Okay.
He played one of the Sinclairs, certainly. Theodore Rex, the movie where Whoopi Goldberg fucks a dinosaur or whatever. And for 2 episodes running, we've had someone who was in the 1988 The Blob movie. And then also, did you know he was the Noid?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was some exciting stuff I found about Pons Maar.
You would have never guessed it from his performance in this.
There's some weird kind of effects and stuff like that, which kind of works with puppeteering, I guess. Jennifer Darling, who plays Barbara Benzinger, has done a ton of voice acting credits. 5 that really stuck out to me. She did voices for The Iron Giant, Extreme Ghostbusters, Billy and Mandy, The Centurions, Man and Machine, Power Extreme, and most importantly was the computer in Demolition Man.
Oh, yeah, see there's a credit I can appreciate.
Matt Borlengi, who plays Brent Benzinger, was a jock in Nightmare on Elm Street 5 Dream Child, and has gotten pretty consistent work on like sitcoms and soap operas over the years.
Okay.
Riley Weston, who plays Bridget Benzinger, has written some Christmas TV movies, so clearly she put the skills she learned in this movie to good use.
Yes, obviously.
Buck Flower, our crazed hobo man, Ed, who licks hair in one scene.
Yes.
You and I talked about this earlier, was in The Fog, They Live, Maniac Cop.
Yeah. All kinds of good stuff.
Oh, man. What did you say, too?
He was in quite a few things. The one that stuck out to me, I'd have to look at my notes real quick, but he's...
in all 3 Back to the Futures?
I was going to say, yeah, he is in all 3 Back to the Futures, but that wasn't... weird stuff always sticks out to me. He was in I know he was in, basically, if there was a TV show between about 1980 and 2004 when he died, he was pretty much in it.
Okay.
I was going to say The Wilderness Family Adventures. He was in that, and I don't know if you've ever seen any of those.
Was it like Swiss Family Robinsons?
Kind of.
Okay.
I feel like they live in the woods. They have like animal companions and stuff like that. Let me see here. I know I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, he was also in that She-Wolf of the SS movie, if you've ever seen that. Interesting movie there. Oh, what was it? I'm going to feel stupid when I find it. What was it? It was... Oh, Pumpkinhead.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did say Pumpkinhead.
I don't know why I couldn't remember that.
Bob Buchholz, who plays Will. I don't even know if I know that. I don't know if I know the character Will off the top of my head in that movie. Has done a ton of like voice direction and like English language direction for a bunch of anime. Really? He was Ryu in Akira.
Okay.
And Gene Starwind in Outlaw Star.
Respectable.
Which, yeah, I thought those were both pretty cool. I for a second, I was like, who was he in Cowboy Bebop? And then I was like, oh no, it's Outlaw Star, the different show.
The other Cowboy Bebop.
Bill Johnson, who plays Roy. I think you and I determined Roy's like a guy who's like getting yelled at in one scene by a cop. Was Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Nice.
The best Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Certainly my favorite. I don't know if it's the best one. Filmed in Pier Point, California, which, I mean, it looked like California.
Yeah, I was going to say, we guessed that without even looking it up.
You and I were saying that it very similar to, like, Jack Frost, where there's a ton of snow on the ground, but in all the trees, there's no snow.
Like, no snow anywhere around. None on the mountains. And, none on the roadways either.
This is a Vinegar Syndrome release, kind of one of those rescued movies, lived on VHS and didn't have like a DVD or Blu-ray release or streaming anywhere for years. And I guess Vinegar Syndrome got their hands on it. The only other way you and I found to watch it was like a bad YouTube VHS rip.
VHS rip, yeah.
Not to be confused with the documentary The American Scream about families decorating for Halloween. Or the Alkaline Trio song, The American Scream.
Both of which would probably be more interesting than this.
Right. Every time you look up The American Scream, those are the two things that come up before this movie. Do you have anything else before we dive into the nonsense?
Can we not?
I mean, we could.
Can we just skip this episode and be like, all right, folks, that's all?
I mean, we could, but where's the fun in that?
All right, I guess. Let's start this terrible synopsis like it even matters.
So we have the Benzinger family getting ready to leave on a Christmas vacation. We are introduced to the main cast. Brent, his friend Larry, Bridget and her friend Roxanne, and then Barbara and Ben, the parents.
I just want to mention, in the blurb for this movie, it says they're going on a vacation that they won, but there's never any indication of that in the movie.
Right.
So I don't know why that's in the description.
No, like, yeah, I don't know where like they got the idea. I don't think it's ever mentioned. Like unless it's just like every year, like the families enter a drawing to try and go to Wilson Creek.
Nobody ever mentions it or anything. I mean, and it's implied they just saw a travel brochure for the place.
Mm. And like we get a scene where like Larry's going up to hang out with Brent, and Brent, we kind of get like this like voiceover as like Brent's looking out the window and like we hear like a neighbor say, "Oh, going up to Wilson Creek, like, oh, it hasn't been the same since we took Sally up there," or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and that's kind of the first hint we get that like something a little different happens up in Wilson Creek.
We can't let them run our lives.
Yeah. Just kind of like a little ominous kind of, almost, you know, we'll get to it, but almost we can say it right now. Kind of a reverse of The Children.
But before that, we missed out on the panty scene on the stairs.
Oh yeah, Larry looks at Bridget's underwear on the stairs or whatever.
Pink is definitely your killer.
And then we get a great scene where Brent is like watching through a telescope as the mailman walks in and starts fucking the neighbor across the street.
Yep. Pretty hot, too. It sets its unrealistic tone for this movie, honestly.
I think you said it's your favorite scene in the whole, like, yes. The opening part is your favorite part of the whole movie.
It is.
They're driving up the mountain to go to Wilson Creek, and there's a scene where there's a clown hitchhiker.
Joke's on you.
With a sign that says "Joke's on you" as he like waves at them as they go by.
That's actually to the audience, not the family.
Right, pretty much. They then get like there's like a car like driving up behind them, like honking, like kind of like crazy. And, you know, Dad, pull over. And then the guy just kind of drives past and waves at him.
Nah, this is just how country people act, son.
And like later on, you know, we figured out that that's the character Ed that we'll meet later.
Guitar's electric.
But at the time we're like, what the fuck is the point of this scene? And then we get an even wilder scene where they're like, oh man, get a load of that. And it's like this really buxom lady, like taking her boobs out to feed her baby. And then like the husband who's driving the car like reaches over and tries to start sucking on her boobs.
Yeah.
And like pushes the baby away, and then they like murder the baby in the car and blood splatters everywhere.
Yeah, you know, just what you're getting used to for this movie.
Oh, so weird.
It's a horror quote unquote comedy.
Right. Did it succeed at either of those things? We'll get to that.
No. Spoiler alert, no.
Family all arrives in Wilson Creek, and they go to the restaurant first. There's some, you know, Christmas decorations on the outside of the restaurant. Besides that, and the snow on the ground, and I think one mention of it being like Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, there's like literally this movie could have been set any time, any place, pretty much.
The waitress like walks up and offers the parents like offers them coffee.
Yeah.
And then like Brent's like, oh, I could go for some coffee. And then the waitress, like, her demeanor completely changes, and she's like, the kids can have hot chocolate.
Yeah. Which is extra funny because none of these people look like they're under 25.
Right. Then, like, for whatever reason, like, the dad goes out to, like, try and call someone on the phone, and, like, the mom gets, like, some hot coffee spilled on her, so she leaves. And then we just get this, like, long, drawn-out scene of, like, people just staring at the kids, like, just cutting into food and not eating it.
Blom, blom, blom,
and
blom.
And the weird hobo man like walks up and like starts licking Bridget's hair, and like no one says a word. He just walks up and does it and then walks away.
And the camera just slowly pans in and out, trying to hypnotize you into thinking you're watching a real movie.
They then the Benzingers all leave, and they go to They try to leave there, and like the engine of the car is flooded. Ben can't get the car started, and he tries to get the hobo guy who licked Bridget's hair's attention, and he like kind of freaks out and starts like kicking Ben's truck, and then Ben gets out and starts kicking his truck, and it's just this very strange scene.
Oh my god!
Just for like Barb to like, you know, touch the key, and instantly the car starts.
Yeah. You must have been flooding it, honey.
Oh, man.
Which also was not even her voice.
No, yeah.
It's an ADR in line, and it's literally like a completely different voice.
They finally get to the cabin that they're talking about. And we get a brief glimpse of like the brochure that kind of comes back a little later in the movie, in Ben's bag. The kids are talking about not seeing any kids in town. Like Brent and Larry go into one room, and Bridget and Roxanne go into another room, and they're both kind of talking about how like there were no kids around in the whole town, and how that was kind of weird. Roxanne then hallucinates Ed like licking her hair again.
Ed's back to lick more hair.
She kind of freaks out, and then Larry winds up like looking out looking out the window in the cabin and seeing the Undertaker, Mark Calloway himself.
Yeah. Oh, weird how he showed up in this.
Chasing a girl through the woods. It's 1988. I don't even know if the Undertaker had debuted yet, or maybe he just had, but it's really early in his run.
He may have still been Texas Red at that point.
Yeah, mean Mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get this just a guy with like a black, Undertaker hat, long trench coat. I mean, I think you and I literally both went, "Oh shit, it's the Undertaker!"
Yeah, at basically the same time.
And he's like chasing this girl, like wearing a bloody dress with a knife, and then Brent goes out to look out the window, and oh, there's no one there. Like, what were you seeing, Larry? You must be hallucinating, you crazy doof. Like.
Oh, yeah, Larry, he's so crazy.
Later that night, the whole family goes to a polka dance at the restaurant. And the waitress from earlier gives the adults punch, but brought a thermos of hot chocolate for the kids. I wonder if the hot chocolate was poisoned or something.
God, I hope so.
It's kind of this awkward scene where like everyone's dancing around and like the teenagers are trying to like lay low.
Everybody's dancing, but I mean they're really not. They're kind of just bouncing up and down in one place.
The girls leave with like the sheriff and one of his friends, and Brent goes to go to the bathroom, and he stands at the urinal, and a guy like walks up next to him and just starts staring at his dick.
Yeah, like you do at the urinal.
And then they go to so then like Brent kind of like gets weirded out, so walks over to the stall, and the guy just walks up behind him and pushes the stall door open and continues to stare at him. Larry then like jumps the guy and like starts to like put him in a sleeper hold or something. The guy just like flips him over his back.
He does the weakest back slam into the door of the stall, and he like crumples to the ground like a piece of paper.
And then he starts strangling Larry like underneath the stall.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And Brent grabs the lid of the toilet, which makes a porcelain like moving a toilet lid sound, but it's clearly made out of styrofoam.
So props to the Foley department on this movie, but yeah, it's clearly a light piece of styrofoam that he just gingerly bonks him on the head with.
But as Larry says later, like caved his head in with the side of the toilet. And so they kind of like they try to escape, and like the way the people are dancing like kind of keeps stopping them from moving out of the thing. Like another kind of weird scene.
And the sheriff and his deputy are hitting on these supposedly like teenage, like 16, 17-year-old girls, and they're both like 50 plus.
It's very, yeah. So the girls go to the bar with the sheriff and his friend. We get this weird, apparently there's just like a woman stripping in the middle of the bar.
Oh yeah, just, at the bar counter, which brought up another incongruity for us. We started noticing a lot. This town seems like Puritan in some respects, and then like completely debaucherous in others.
Yeah. And like guys are like literally like groping the woman like while she's like dancing on top of the bar, and the girls like don't even notice that this is happening.
No, they act like it's not even happening.
As like they continue to get like more and more drunk from the beers being poured down their throat.
Yes, and that's when our two intrepid heroes spy the girls through the window, and they're like, "What's going on? Why are they acting like that? Do you not see all the beer on the table in front of them?"
Well, then like Larry thinks that they're talking that Brent's talking about the woman's breasts or whatever on top of the table.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then they see that like the sheriff is walking towards the girls with like a broken beer bottle
in fucking horrible slow motion, by the way.
And they're like supposed to be pounding on the glass, but they're just kind of flailing their arms in the air.
Well, so they start off flailing them at least convincingly towards the glass, but by the end, they're literally just like holding their hands up and like moving them barely back and forth next to the glass.
It's like one of those, I'm not touching you kind of thing with the glass that kids do.
Which, I mean, bear in mind, at this point, the sheriff and his deputy friend, whatever he is, haven't done anything to the girls, and I think they're just carrying the broken bottle that those two guys who were fighting broke,
right,
to throw it away. And it's like they have literally done nothing so far, but they're like desperate to get in there, like they're about to be murdered or something in the middle of this crowded restaurant.
And then while all that's going on, like we see Ed, the guy, like pop up, push both of the boys out of the way because like a guy's been running up behind them with like a baseball bat to attack them.
Yeah.
Ed turns around, pulls a axe out of a stump, and just chops the dude's head off with like one just like quick swing of
nice
the axe.
Fluid motion. Obviously, he must be part Viking.
The guy's head, the guy's decapitated head, like flies through the air, twisting and turning, and lands on some like nails that are poking upright.
Oh, of course,
Looks at either Bridget or Roxanne, one of the girls, still has a cigarette in his mouth, smirks and winks at her, which kind of causes her to freak out, and they both run out of the restaurant.
Yes, and that's when we start our period of heavy panting. Did you see what that was back there?
They're trying to be quiet while being like as loud as humanly possible, which is a recurring theme in this movie.
We're trying to say that we're scared, so we're going to pant as much as possible.
And then like when they are like they're kind of hiding because like everyone kind of, the kids certainly kind of realize something is up with this town.
Well, I mean, at least you think so, but you can't really be sure about anything in this movie.
Right. And then we see Ed, the guy, like with his taxidermy dog, like standing at the top of the hill looking at him. Because right now we think Ed is like the bad guy in the movie, even though he just saved their lives.
I'll say a flashback to when the dad is kicking his truck. He's like, sick 'em, Blue, who's obviously a taxidermy dog. Yes, he's growling and barking, and the dad acts like the dog is actually going to come after him and jumps back in the car.
Well, then like at one point he's like the only at one point when he goes to like kick his car, he's like, the only difference between yours and mine is mine's an 88.
I mean, which would have been impressive if we weren't watching this in 2023.
The next morning, the kids wake up and go to breakfast. Apparently, there's 30 feet of driveway to shovel, but you guys got to get a big breakfast first. So they go to the restaurant to eat breakfast.
Because we just leave through the snow because it's important to shovel it. Oh, yeah, and when you see the snow, it's literally not even up over their shoes.
Right. Literally, you could just run the shovel down the sidewalk or down the driveway
and it would be done.
And clear it, yeah. The Undertaker appears from behind them in the restaurant.
Well, he's good at that.
And picks up a knife and kind of threatens Larry with it.
I wonder why I kept hearing those bong.
And then Paul Bearer popped up. He's like, "My Undertaker!" And then the Undertaker and the sheriff kind of run into each other, and the sheriff kind of hits on the girls again.
Yeah.
Then back at the cabin, we get this weird scene where like Brent talks to his dad.
Yes, but his dad is melting during the scene.
Right. Like the dad's talking about like how family is important and stuff like that, and how they're worried about Brent as like sweat is pouring down his face.
And then like a piece of his skin flakes off.
His teeth like start falling out. Mm-hmm. His like snot is pouring out of his nose. And then he just like rips his ear off of his own head when he's like, "Do you hear me, son?" And he rips off his own ear. Yep. And then just like blood starts dripping from the top of his head. And just this weird hallucination scene that like then Brent just like snaps out of it.
It amounts to nothing.
Like, was he imagining it? Was he hallucinating? Like, yeah, doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
What's going on here?
We then get Larry and Brent shoveling snow.
Shoveling, quote unquote.
Larry's literally like not lifting any snow off the ground.
And Brent is literally just picking up snow in his shovel and tossing it directly over his shoulder back onto the other part of the driveway.
And like Brent at one point like says like, "Larry, you're crazy," and like Larry just starts freaking out at him.
Yeah, you're right. I am crazy. Let's have a shovel fight. The most low stakes shovel fight you've ever seen.
Yeah, they're just like swinging their shovels at each other. That's when like Ed like pops up like out of his truck.
Please stop all this noise.
Yep, we get this like POV backstory. Where Ed's like, they killed my whole family. They don't think that I know, but I know they did it. They won't let me leave, like kind of thing.
And we see a simulation of a man who just wants to grill.
And it's like probably one of the coolest shots in the movie, where like it's like almost like a handheld like camera recorder,
old fashioned VHS recording.
Yeah, looks like a family video, but it's like Ed's POV of like doing all these things. As like basically he's like grilling out, and then this guy just appears with like a tire iron and starts like beating his whole family.
Yep.
And while like Ed's trying to convey this to the boys, like someone just appears out of the woods and shoots him in the head. Meanwhile, their dad is in the background, not noticing any of this.
Like it's not even happening.
Meanwhile, the girls are like running through like the snow.
Oh my god!
And come to the cemetery, and we get this cool shot where like the camera kind of goes through the bars of the cemetery gate to kind of focus on the girls who for some reason are making snow angels in the middle of a cemetery.
I mean, we always head out during Christmas here in Iowa to make a snow angel on a grave. It's a family tradition.
And then they find like a baby doll buried in the snow, and they kind of freak out because they think it's a real baby.
Yeah.
And like they kind of like then cut to or kind of mirror that.
Larry and Brent are burying Ed.
Yep, yeah. and they use his dog Blue as kind of the marker of his grave. The girls find the couple that were driving up the mountain behind them that murdered their baby, and they find them basically eating their baby and feeding it to each other.
Yeah.
And the girls are like, "Shh, be quiet. This is terrifying." And then they run away screaming.
Yeah. It's just like things in this movie that you gotta wonder. It's like, okay, so how much did the people who made this smoke, and what was it?
And where can I get some?
Exactly.
The girls hitch a ride in the bed of a truck, which we learn is being driven by the Undertaker. While the boys like get in Ed's truck and find the hotel that Ed was staying at.
Well, I hope his hotel room's better than his truck. It's like, oh yeah, nice way to talk about the guy who tried to save your lives multiple times, you assholes.
They find Ed's brochure that's similar to the ones that Brent's parents had. Yeah. And basically it says Wilson Creek, a place to bring the kids and leave your troubles behind. Mm. So we kind of, if you haven't pieced it all together yet, parents are taking their kids there and having their kids killed so they can live a normal life.
So they can have a good life, quote unquote.
The girls, have this weird dream hallucination thing in the bed of the truck.
Yes. Oh, yes. The chains pop up from the underworld and start dragging them down.
Yep, and like pinning them to the bed of the truck, and then like just the Undertaker just gets out of the truck and he's like, "Wake up! Into the line!" Like just the weirdest scene.
Wake up!
Meanwhile, Brent and Larry are investigating
quote unquote
the other rooms in the hotel,
just wandering around like dumbasses,
and they find the girl from earlier that Larry saw like tied up in the shower.
Yeah.
Brent's able to get the two, his sister and Roxanne in the other room, but Larry's like hiding in the tub.
And the Undertaker shows up,
and he like slits the girl's throat and then just cuts her down from the shower head that she's been like strung up with, and she lands on top of Larry. He doesn't even look in the tub to see him. He just reaches his knife in, slits her throat, and then cuts her down and walks away.
Living like Larry.
Then Larry like appears. Larry is I think we said it off the air. Larry's just Screech. Like he's Screech from Saved by the Bell. He just walks in, his hair's a mess, he's covered in blood. He's like, "Well, at least it's not my blood."
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not my blood. I'm not insane either.
The kids kind of formulate a plan as they figured out what's going on.
Yeah, they're going to plan.
Yeah, they're going to grow up. So Brent dresses like a musician for the country western night at the restaurant. Mm-hmm. Larry dresses up like the priest, and the girls just kind of like wear country western wear instead of their normal clothes.
The girls dress up as what's known in some circles as hoes.
And then one thing I noticed is they go in and they're allowed to drink punch because they're dressed respectably.
Yes. And clearly they're adults now.
Yeah, they're acting like adults. And then we kind of get this scene where like Brent plays the guitar and he's playing with the band nicely, and then just starts playing rock music, and everyone kind of gets freaked out by it. You
couldn't resist that damn rock and roll. It's destroying the youth.
And so then kind of the climax of the movie, the rest of the band starts playing Orange Blossom Special as Larry and the Undertaker go to the Undertaker's church.
Say, you're forgetting the lengthy 3-minute long stare down between Larry and the Undertaker, where they keep chugging the punch and quoting things back and forth to each other.
From the Bible.
What's your favorite part of the Bible? I'm partial to the Sodom and Gomorrah stuff myself. What about you? Abraham, the one who stabbed his son, which he didn't, by the way. It's like, did anybody crack a Bible for this movie? The entire point of Abraham's story is he did not kill his son, even though God told him he would have to.
And so, like, Larry follows the Undertaker to a church where he's like, oh, do you got any more whiskey in there? And he's like, no, but I got wine.
Oh, I got wine in there. They all float down here, Larry.
The Undertaker pulls out like a big old like Bowie knife.
Yeah.
And then Larry's like, I got one too, and he pulls out his little butterfly knife that he does all the little tricks with.
And instead of saying motherfucker like earlier, he says mother superior.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to mention that. So when they get to the cabin, Brent and Larry go into the room they're going to share, and there's one nice bed and one shitty bunk bed, and Larry claims the good bed, and Brent's like, oh no, fuck that, I'm taking the good bed. And he just flips out this switchblade out of nowhere. And he's like, I'll cut you so fast, motherfucker, don't fuck with me. And he's like, I'm just kidding, man. But he totally doesn't sound like he was kidding.
No, yeah, like I think I said to you, like, why are they friends?
I was going to say, was that supposed to be funny? Because it didn't really come off as funny. It came off as unhinged psychopathy.
Brent, if Larry acts like this, you need to stop being his friend. It's that simple.
So yeah, we get a comeback reference to that at the end with the switchblade.
And so then...
and then he comes towards him with the obviously bigger knife that he actually knows how to use. And he falls flat on his face and he's like, holy shit! And starts scrambling out of the church. And
as the Undertaker walks across the top of the pews to like chase after him.
Very slowly, by the way, and ungainly, like he's never done it before, because he probably hadn't before that scene.
Larry is able to somehow overpower him, take his knife away,
yes,
I think stabs him in the hand with his butterfly knife, and then like slits his throat with the bigger knife.
Yes.
Brent kind of gets in a confrontation with the waitress, who basically is like, oh, I see you didn't actually grow up. Like,
there's no place for your kind here.
Yep. And then they do like a Texas Stern Western shootout.
What you're saying is this town ain't big enough for the two of us, Pilgrim.
They both draw, and
Brent's faster. Plugs her right between the eyes.
Yeah, we get that's kind of a cool shot. As like the blood just drips out of her forehead and she falls to the ground.
John Wayne would have been proud.
And then we get, I thought this was like kind of a neat part too, but it's also a little confusing. Roxanne's just in the car fucking the sheriff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like Bridget is like basically being assaulted by the other guy.
Yes, being hit on and groped by this guy who she clearly has no interest in.
And he's like, oh, come on, baby, I thought you was a slut. Like that's like basically what he says to her. And she's like, oh, sorry, let me put my makeup on. And then like sprays him in the eyes with her hairspray, pulls out a shotgun, and is like, pick a window, you're leaving, and blows the dude's brains out. The whole time while this is going on, Roxanne's just fucking the sheriff in the car right next to him.
Which, I mean, apparently whatever she did to him makes him kill himself the next morning.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Like at the next morning, like, cause like I was sitting there with you and I was like, okay, so they killed three people. Like Roxanne didn't kill anybody. And then, the next morning she's like, oh, that Sam will be, dead in a couple minutes. And then you just hear a shotgun go off or something.
Oh, I think you'll be hearing from Sam in a couple of minutes. Yeah. Then you hear him blowing his head off. But yes, the kids have killed the town weirdos, and now they've assumed their identities.
Yep, as Ben and Barb just leave town without their kids, not worried about it at all.
And they're like, yeah, fuck having kids.
And then we see the kids have kind of assumed like the roles of the people within the town. So Brent is now Sheriff Sam.
Yeah.
Larry is now the Undertaker.
Yeah. Roxanne is now the waitress.
Or Bridget's now the waitress?
Or is Bridget the waitress?
I think Bridget's the waitress, and then Roxanne is just kind of like
Roxanne's just there.
Yeah. And then the movie ends.
Yep, and you're sitting there wondering, why did I watch this?
We get this weird song called like "Ornery Man" about how like
I'm an ornery man.
How I hate Disney World and I hate Disneyland. I'm an ornery man.
Yes, sir. Because every one of these shitty ass movies has to have a theme song at the end.
On the warm side of the door.
I don't want to spend Christmas by myself.
All right, well...
So, honestly, if the last about 10 minutes of the movie could have been the whole movie, we might have had something to work with here.
I agree.
But unfortunately, no. You have to watch an entire movie to get to, like, 10 minutes of something interesting happening.
As we would probably, if this was an episode of The Last Drive-In, we get a bathroom stall foo...
Snow shovel foo.
Snow shovel foo. We get aardvarking. We get, I think, 8 breasts.
Oh yeah, easily. What do we get? What would you call that? Making the grave marker out of the dog.
I don't know.
Canine iconography. I don't know.
But yeah,
but I mean, Joe Bob needs to do this movie.
It'd probably make it more enjoyable.
It's insane that he hasn't, honestly. But yeah, so that was the American Scream.
Yeah, so let's get into our minutia. Let's move this along.
Again, do we have to?
I always think this part's a little more fun than the synopsis.
I guess.
All right. What do you want to start with?
We might as well just do Christmas Sweater and get it out of the way.
All right.
The only interesting thing for me was The Undertaker. It's like, why is The Undertaker in this movie? Who knows?
There wasn't much. The costumes, like I have some things for costumes. I didn't really have anything for set. Like, it looked like kind of a small derelict town.
The setting is basically just small town USA. I mean, the costumes were kind of weird in the fact that it seemed like some of the stuff was like more like 50s/60s. Like maybe this town is like 20 years behind the times or whatever. But, I mean, nobody's really stood out except The Undertaker. And I guess if we're going to count the taxidermy dog as part of the set, Blue was interesting.
I had Brent's Mickey Mouse jean jacket.
Yeah.
It has like Mickey Mouse embroidered on, like I think it's even like baby Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, I think so.
Like embroidered on the back. I thought that was an interesting costume choice. And then Brent's whole look during the like the country western scene. I thought that was kind of a neat little look.
I forgot to mention, I liked the stripper at the bar's costume. That was really good, even though she wasn't wearing it for long. And I liked the neighbor lady, Mrs. Gleason's costume, after she stripped down with the mailman.
Oh, and don't forget the lady in the car who was breastfeeding. You liked her costume too?
Oh, yeah, that was a pretty interesting costume.
You liked Roxanne's costume at the end of the movie?
Yeah, I mean...
when she's fucking the sheriff in the car?
You couldn't really see much of her costume, so it wasn't that impressive, really. Kind of a letdown after all that time.
Oh man, but yeah, honestly, there's not much to write home about in this movie.
No.
For Christmas Carol's favorite quotes, there was some interesting. I thought there was like some interesting quotes, some interesting dialogue.
Wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, that's what I had to. At one point, right before that, Brent goes, "Cynthia Gleason is fucking the mailman." Larry goes, "How do you know?" And then Brent responds, "They do it every day, rain, sleet, or snow."
Ah, yeah, that classic line.
When Ed is fighting with Ben, you just get Ed like on repeat saying, "Sick 'em, Blue, bite 'em, boy."
Also, in that same scene, the 80-yard thing from the wife, "You just flooded it, honey."
Right?
You just flooded it.
And at one point, like Brent's like, "What's going on here?" or something like that. And Bridget goes, "It's called polka." And Brent goes, "I'm not talking about the goddamn dance."
Yeah. What was it? Oh, yeah, it said when the Undertaker is quoting his favorite part of the Bible, "You know, Abraham, the one who stabs his son." I like that because, one, it was funny to bring up, and two, it never happened.
Larry, does your dad drink? Brent, Of course he lives with my mom.
Yep, that was a memorable one.
And then I think what you and I both laughed at, Ben, the dad, goes, "Say, are you kids eating breakfast or are you excavating archaeological ruins?"
Yep. And then, one of those pithy comments like that.
He also has a line. I didn't write it down, but when he like goes to wake up Brent and Larry's like, "Could you give me 5 more minutes?" And Ben just like goes, "Oh, a little stiffy, huh?"
You got a little stiffy. Oh, you young guys.
Jesus Christ, what a weird. Oh man.
Oh my God. It's just like every time you think this movie is like calmed down and you might get a real movie, it pulls something like that.
What do you want to do next?
I guess let's do, we can save our broken, bold, brilliant bulb for the end. So let's do How Christmassy Was the Movie.
All right. Christmas spirit. How Christmassy is the movie. How Christmassy are the kills. I mean, it's neither really for either of
I
them.
was gonna say, really, honestly, like I said before, this could have been set at any time, basically, and it wouldn't have made any difference. Honestly, this felt more like a summer vacation, like a retreat up into the mountains or whatever they did a Christmas vacation. Because it's like most people don't take mountain retreats for Christmas unless they're gonna go skiing.
Which, yeah, they never do in this movie. There's an axe kill. I mean, as I've said before, something about an axe kill seems kind of Christmassy, but arguably, I wouldn't say this axe kill was very Christmassy.
Honestly, no, this one did not really feel that Christmassy.
But things I noticed that, you and I have shouted out kind of before. There's like one strand of lights at the bar.
Yeah, just barely.
There is painted on the restaurant windows is like Merry Christmas, and there's like some holly painted on the window as well. And then
like what you would expect from your local Hy-Vee at Christmas time.
Right, yeah, pretty much. And then there's snow on the ground, which like we said, yeah, there's snow on the ground, but not on the trees, probably because they filmed it up in the mountains.
Say not on the trees, not on the roads. And it's like there's snow in the mountains all the time, so it doesn't even really indicate anything.
Yeah, broken bulb, brilliant bulb. One thing you would fix, and one thing you want to shout out.
Broken bulb. The lack of any kind of coherent plot or story to this movie. It's literally just, okay, we're going to move a family up to a vacation town in the mountains, and then basically nothing happens the entire movie. It's just weird imagery and excuses to show strippers, basically.
Right.
And just, people generally acting weird. I mean, we discussed it beforehand when this is one of the rare movies we actually rewatched together before doing this, because, yes, we suffer and watch these things twice for you people. Well, 2.5 times for me, because I skimmed it last night. But it's basically like somebody saw like a David Lynch movie or a David Lynch style movie and was like, hey, I could do that, and then didn't pull it off at all.
I had the same thing for Broken Bulb. The one thing I would fix is, what is this? What is going on? Like,
see, the thing with non-linear storytelling is you still have to have a story that you're telling. You just break it up in a weird, wacky way where all the pieces fit together at the end. The problem with this is none of the pieces ever fit together, and nothing is ever. It's like no one ever says why this place exists. No one says why the parents want to get rid of their kids here. Mm-hmm. It's like no one even ever... I mean, we don't even know these characters. That makes it really hard to even care.
Right.
That they're about to be murdered because we don't know anything about them.
No, yeah, the characters are all pretty interchangeable. Like, you and I went through as we were kind of talking beforehand, trying to like nail down which character's name is which.
Yeah.
Because like none of their names matter. It doesn't matter who any of these characters are.
The only person with any kind of personality is Larry, and basically his only personality is he acts crazy.
Yeah, I like I said, he's Screech from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Like that's his whole personality. Brilliant Bulb, one thing you want to shout out?
Honestly, the effects, I would say, would be my Brilliant Bulb. Just the gore effects look cool. There's some cool effects shots. Like we talked about some of the camera tricks they used in some of those shots, like in the graveyard, and the POV shots, like the home video shots of Ed remembering what happened to his family. Those were all well done, and I mean, we called out the Foley team for making the porcelain lid sound,
right,
for the styrofoam toilet. That must have taken some effort, but I mean, honestly, that's about the only thing I could praise in a movie like this. And I mean, there's some spots of decent acting from some of the people. Like I know you shouted out the mom, and I agreed. The Mrs. Benzinger does a pretty good job, but I mean, Ed does a decent job being a creepy weirdo.
Yep. No, I'm kind of right there with you. Practical effects. I mean, the dude getting his head chopped off looked really cool, and then like the head winking afterwards, I thought that was awesome. Like
very Freddy Krueger and Freddy versus Jason.
The scene where like the dad's like ears and teeth are falling out,
melting while he's talking to his son.
like I thought that looked amazing. Like those are both two really cool moments. Yeah, some of the actors are really really good. The mom, Ed. And I thought the dad, I thought Ponsmar did a pretty good job too.
He does an okay job.
And then like, also just like you said, that POV section with like the handheld video recorder, like
that was a cool effect.
I thought that was a really neat idea and a really cool usage of like a guy with like fuzzy memory who's thinking back to like old times and he's remembering this thing and we get it as POV, but but it's shot completely differently and just looks so neat.
And it's filtered. They set it up like a special effects filter over it to make it look like it's like that old style VHS recording.
And it's kind of like dreamlike, like it's a little like hazy and stuff like just makes for a really neat effect.
But unfortunately, those few bright spots do not pull this movie out to anything good.
Yeah, so we'll fine. We'll do it. Our final rating. We rate these movies on one of three categories. Are they ho ho hilarious? Are they seasonally scary? Or are they you'll be sorry? I'm sure everyone can guess.
It's gonna be seasonally scary for me, Jay. This thing is a horror to watch. No, it's you'll be sorry. I mean, come on. There's no way to dress this thing up. It's like I see people online reviewing this and they're like, "Oh, it's my new favorite Christmas classic," or whatever. And it's like, what movie did you guys watch? Did you watch it like high on acid? Is that the secret to liking this movie?
Or maybe that is the secret. Maybe we should have taken some edibles beforehand and we would have enjoyed it a lot.
I think I even joked that I should have brought some edibles for us to watch this the first time. But it's like, I do not understand where the love for this movie is coming from. And I saw somebody describe it as Christmas Vacation, but with a slasher. It is not that at all.
No.
Not even close.
That's what I thought it was. I'm also you'll be sorry. I'm right there with you. That's what I thought it was supposed to be. Oh, is it like Christmas Vacation meets a slasher movie? Is it Christmas, like you said, David Lynch, is it Twin Peaks meets Christmas Vacation? No, it's not that.
It's none of that.
One of the covers has like a witch on it, like kind of looking thing. Like, and I thought, is it kind of like a weird like Christmas Vacation meets Troll 2? Which honestly, I think Troll 2 might be a little better than this movie.
Definitely more entertaining than this movie.
But yeah, someone made a movie. Jeff and I haven't made a movie.
No, I'm not knocking him for the effort of making the movie. I mean, good on you that you actually made the project and finished it, but this is not something I would recommend that anybody watch.
No, absolutely. Same here. There was kind of like you were saying, like seeing people review stuff. I saw someone be like, "Oh, I've had that opening scene where like the woman and her husband kill their baby in the car, like stuck in my head. Thank you for like re-releasing this movie so I could watch that, so I could watch this movie again." I'm like, I mean, I guess I've been there. Like, I remember the scene in Perdita Durango where, like, the guy, like, is robbing the bank and tells the woman to take her top off. Like, and then his like, co-robber is like, "No, man, we gotta leave. Like, the cops are coming." And he's like, "No, take your top off." Like, I've had that scene stuck in my head for years, like, until I figured out what movie it was. But
I'm going to call this the Santa Claus effect because of what we experienced with Santa Claus. I'm thinking this must be a movie a bunch of people saw on TV in the 90s and it had tits in it. And so then they're like, "Oh, that was a good movie."
Yep.
And then they go back and rewatch it and they're like, "Yep, still tits in it. Still good."
Still, boobs in the movie. Make it good. I mean, we've established before that's kind of your review criteria.
Booba? Question mark?
But no, it's not good. Like, no,
it's not. Honestly, this is coming from me, so you can trust this. The boobs do not make it worth it.
But like, Vinegar Syndrome like put this out. Like, they're a good company that they put out our Christmas Evil release. Like, they've put out good stuff in the past. This is just such a strange movie.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, really restoring this movie. It seems like wasted effort. I mean, it's not like it's going to be more impactful because you can see it in HD.
No, I even said to you, like, I looked up in Scary Little Christmas, like, to see if there was anything about this movie, and it's not even in there, which, like, I'm not sure if Matthew Dupay knew.
Well, I mean, he must
that this movie existed.
I'm guessing he must have known because, I mean, there's stuff going like all the way back. I mean, people have been talking about it for years online, and I think even though Joe Bob has never done it, his name comes up in association with it, so he must have talked about it at some point.
Okay.
So people know about it. It's just like, honestly, if I was making a compendium of Christmas horror, I wouldn't include it because it's really not Christmas horror.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Just a really, there's a lot of potential, and I think there's a neat idea here. Just this movie does not realize any of those things.
No, if they had delivered like a Christmas Vacation meets a slasher movie, or if they delivered like a David Lynch-esque, like asymmetrical, out of order story that made you like scratch your head as to what's going on, but then all the pieces fall into place at the end and you could see all the signs all along or whatever, that would have been cool. But it's like none of the pieces ever come together. It's not really funny. It's not really scary. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, like we said, practical effects are awesome, but
effects great. Even some of the sound design and stuff we pointed out was well done,
and like some really cool shots. It's just
no, the act. I don't think the act. I mean, none of the kids were really that good, I would say, but I mean the parents were fine. I mean, some of the townspeople were fine, like we mentioned the creepy waitress and Ed. And the Undertaker wasn't really scary. But,
just weird.
They say he was a good weirdo.
That's the thing. If he had just been stalking them throughout the entire movie, I think that would have been a cooler movie.
Yeah.
Where like the parents don't, the parents are in on it. They know that this is happening, but they don't believe that that the pastor in the town is stalking them and trying to get them killed. Well,
and it's like when they play the Blob, we're pretty sure in Ed's flashback on the little like camp TV he's got. And it's like that's a reference to the kids believing something is happening, but none of the adults do. I think that trope got started with the original Blob, if I'm not mistaken, and is carried over into lots of horror movies. It's either that or, what was that other one? Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I think, uses that too.
It does feel very kind of like Killer Clowns. Yes.
But it's like...
But Killer Clowns is a better movie.
I was going to say, I would rather watch Killer Clowns than this, definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I always feel kind of bad when we shit on movies because like we've never made a movie, but sometimes like it's just the movies are kind of bad. Well, like
the thing was, this director comes on at the beginning, and he's like, "Oh, we really appreciate all the support for our work over the years. It's crazy people still support this all these years later." And we made a movie over like the course of a weekend with a tiny budget or whatever. But we pulled it off. So we were thinking, maybe this is going to be like a Mike Lombardo White Doomsday situation, where it's kind of like a hidden gem or whatever that no one has really seen. But then you get to it and it's like, oh, no, it's not. It's the American Scream. That's pretty much the best way to describe it.
Right. I mean, we're Americans and we were screaming.
Yes, we were screaming, but not in terror.
So for our naughty list, I mean, what do we want to do? The town of Wilson Creek?
I guess because none of the villains of the movie really are the villains. It's kind of like a rotating cast. I mean, unless we want to do like the townsfolk as like an entity, like we did the killers in 13 Slays.
Yeah, I think you're kind of right there. I think we should go with the townsfolk. Now on screen, we only see them kill 2 people.
Yeah. And, the people they killed weren't it was what? We had an old man they shot in the head from really far away.
Right.
So that's not that impressive. We had, they attempt to kill plenty of people, but the creepy Undertaker man only really kills one woman.
Yeah, and she's already tied up.
Yeah, I was going to say, and already been beaten and everything, so who knows if he even really captured her, if it was the sheriff or somebody else.
Right.
But I think all you need to know is they were defeated by our main cast of idiot characters.
That's the thing. I think I would put them like you said, 13 Slays, and I think that's perfect. We take the town of Wilson Creek and we put them below the bar patrons from 13 Slays.
Yeah, the bar patrons from 13 Slays are definitely more competent and dangerous killers than these people.
I think that's a perfect place to put them. Well, let's reach into our email bag / shove a bunch of garbage in our faces in a segment we like to call
Garbage Day! Huh? No! I put it over here.
Oh God, ladies and gentlemen, he's got something. Oh my God, it's a steel chair. Oh my God, Mark Calloway is here to beat us up for making fun of him.
Dong. Dead man walking.
Oh God, he's right behind me, isn't he? He's doing the eye thing, isn't he?
It's that meme of like AJ Styles and the Undertaker standing behind him from like the Boneyard match or whatever.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me, there's no way the Undertaker could tombstone me at this point. I got the physique of a Yokozuna. So.
I mean, we saw how he struggled to lift Goldberg in Saudi Arabia or whatever. Like,
I was gonna say, I've got that Yokozuna physique, so I don't think anybody's lifting me.
All right. Well, we didn't have any emails again this week. So
this audience, I tell you, man, listen to the episodes. Never leave any comments. Never send us any emails. Sad.
So I dug through my cabinets and found some stuff that I meant to do earlier.
Oh, God.
I never got around to, but they're still good. So
Oh, yeah, they're still good, ladies and gentlemen, as if they were ever good to begin with.
So we got gingerbread Kit Kats from last Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Still sealed in package.
We've got lemon crisp Kit Kats from last Easter.
Oh, my God. What are you trying to do to me?
We've got peppermint crunch junior mints from last Christmas.
You people, you see what you've done?
And we've got Witch's Brew Alani New Energy Caramel Apple flavored from last Halloween.
Oh, my God.
This is the caramel apple energy drink that I hinted at
I was going to
on
say,
the last episode.
just to date this real quick, we are in August of 2023, and I'm being served products from holidays of 2022.
They say that they're still good, so...
Oh, no, I'm sure, yeah. Because an American corporation would never lie to me.
All right, well, I'll pop open the caramel apple drink. The big talk online amongst spooky season fans is that this year's kind of big flavor is going to be caramel apple. There's a lot of like caramel apple stuff coming out. So this is something that came out last year. So it's kind of a distant early warning of of what was to come this Halloween.
Solid Rush reference. I like it. Oh, good. The junior mints are melted to the inside of the box.
Oh boy, exciting stuff.
There you go. Have one of those.
Oh no.
All right, I'll open mine too.
All right, I can tell you right now, smells really good. I don't know how it's going to taste, but it smells like a caramel apple pop.
My wife likes these energy drinks.
Okay.
So. Tastes really good, actually.
A little too sweet for my liking. Like I think some of the caramely stuff makes it a little sweeter than I would have liked, but yeah, not bad.
No, I'd say pretty much just right for me.
There's a local brewery close to us called Barntown. They do like all sorts of like neat dessert kind of beers and stuff like that, and they do a caramel apple beer that is fantastic.
I'll have to try it sometime.
I'm hoping I can get a 4-pack and we can do it for one of these.
Okay, because that peanut butter beer you gave me last year was the first beer I think I've ever actually thought I could drink.
And then I would argue the Barntown is it is my favorite brewery in the state of Iowa. And they've done all sorts of neat things with beers. They did like a milkshake IPA, like a strawberry milkshake IPA. Didn't even taste like an IPA, but it just tasted like drinking a strawberry milkshake. Like,
wow, that could be dangerous.
They're the people that do like the pickle beer at the fair, which is pretty solid. They've done all sorts of interesting stuff, like a lemon bar that tastes like drinking a lemon bar. They do peanut butter and jelly, like beers that taste like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like,
wow,
they're really talented. And also like their normal beers are good too. They do like they have like their main ones, and then they also do like some limited releases with like there's a like a Mexican beer that they do around like the Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, okay.
Really tasty, like a really solid. And they have like a little bit. I think they have like a little bit of like like taco spices or whatever in it, and like it just kind of gets you on the back end. Like it just tastes a little spicy on the back end. Real good beer.
And what's this place called?
Barntown. It's over
Okay.
University in Waukee.
Ah, okay. Easy to get to then.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like a mile from our old job.
Oh, okay. All right, we're trying these junior mints now.
They're chocolate. They're peppermint. They're really quite refreshing.
Well, they're stale. Not all that refreshing.
Yeah, I'm not getting any peppermint crunch.
No. I think these have done gone bad there, G.
No, I'm sorry.
You're not sorry, you bastard. He does this to me on purpose.
I'll buy one next year. It's supposed to taste better than this, I swear.
This is what he subverted the will of the wheel, and now we're being punished.
No, that was real bad. They normally taste better than that.
I hope so. I was gonna say, if not, Junior is really falling down on his mints.
Like I said, I'll buy some. I'll buy some next year.
I was gonna say we better start buying senior mints.
or what? I guess this year I'll buy some here in a couple months, and we'll try it again on an episode. They're supposed to taste better than that.
All right, lemon bar Kit Kat down the hatch.
So it's like a yellow Kit Kat kind of colored. Lemon crisp is the flavor. Kind of a pale yellow.
Actually, pretty good.
You get kind of a faint lemon smell. I mean, I know these are essentially last Easter's.
I mean, probably be more lemon if they were fresher, but I mean, honestly, not bad.
Yeah, I'd say pretty good.
I'd say if we actually bought them fresh at Easter, I could see them being really good. But turns out if you leave them in your pantry all year and then wait till next August after Easter, they're still okay.
Oh, Jeff, I've got a special surprise for you at Christmas time. Don't even worry about it.
Oh my God. You people better start sending some emails. All right, gingerbread Kit Kat. Here we go. Well, I'm hoping this is as good as the gingerbread Oreos.
Oh man, those are good. Just so you know, pumpkin pie Oreos are back in stock at retailers. I've still not seen any Monster cereal anywhere, or some of the other stuff that's been hinted at this Halloween season. But I did see pumpkin pie Oreos, and I bought a couple.
Not as good as gingerbread Oreos, but solid.
Okay.
I like it. Not bad. You definitely get the gingerbread flavor, which a lot of gingerbread products weirdly do not nail.
No, I think that's real tasty.
Yeah,
I think both those are a win.
Yep. I mean, honestly, everything but the stale junior mints, I think, were pretty good today.
What I like too is is that we're now starting to get Kit Kats that aren't just chocolate. For years, like I know in Japan, there have been all sorts of like different flavored Kit Kats. There's been like red bean Kit Kats and all sorts of like
wasabi Kit Kats.
Yeah, all sorts of like interesting flavors. And we've only ever had chocolate Kit Kats. And I'm excited that we are finally getting kind of unique flavors. I think we had like blueberry cobbler Kit Kats earlier this year and churro Kit Kats. And
if you can get there's green tea Kit Kats and matcha Kit Kats. Those are both solid. They're usually at like, if you have like a local like Asian food store,
okay,
you can usually get them there.
Okay. But like, we've got these gingerbread cookie and lemon crisp Kit Kats, both really tasty.
Yep, both solid Kit Kats. And
for Halloween, I know they do like a witch's brew Kit Kat that's kind of like a neon green or like kind of an off green.
Yeah.
And then like a skeleton bone Kit Kat that's like marshmallow flavored.
I was gonna say, sometimes I think they alternate the witch's brew one with like a Frankenstein one.
But I saw those in stores, so I might pick those up and we'll do those. They'll be a little fresher, and we'll do those on a episode here coming up as we're ramping up into spooky season.
Oh boy! So are we gonna reveal our plans for a spooky season spooktacular yet?
I mean, we can certainly talk about it.
I mean, we got to do all Halloween movies, and I think we should try to do one a week.
We can
in October.
Okay, we can shoot to do that.
See if we can make the schedule work.
Right now I'm kind of working on figuring out a job or something like that. I've got a couple leads and I'm hoping to hear back from someplace. But yeah, if we can make that work, I think that'd be okay, and we can just do 4 different kind of Halloween themed movies.
Yeah.
We can kind of talk about it off the air and figure out 4 of them.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
All right, so yeah, we'll shoot for that. So look forward to that here coming up in 2 months.
Oh, we got to do our tradition. We have to rank the items.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Stale Junior Mints bottom, obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
Number 4 for me, I would say the Alani. I mean, it's good, but it's just a drink. Number 2, I'd say the lemon Kit Kat, and number 1, gingerbread Kit Kat.
I think I might switch the lemon Kit Kat and the Alani.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise I'm right there with you. Junior mints are the worst. The lemon, and that's the thing, maybe if like you said, maybe if the lemons were a bit fresher, like it you kind of get a hint of it, and when you bite into it, it tastes a little better.
Honestly, I'm guessing it was probably stronger when they were fresh.
But yeah, I was not expecting this energy drink to be as good as it is. Like I said, the caramel for me is a little strong, but it's honestly not bad. And the gingerbread cookie Kit Kat is fantastic. Like,
Yep, I like it.
that's really impressive. I'm surprised they did such a good job with that, and I'm actually excited for next Christmas, so I can buy more of it and get some more of these because
Eat them fresh.
these have been real good. Yeah, let's if you want to help support the podcast, you can follow us on social media. We're on Twitter,
X,
TikTok,
It's X now, Jay.
Instagram, Threads, and we finally got on Blue Sky. We are at Horror 4 Holidays, Horror the number 4 Holidays. You can find us on YouTube.
Yep, youtube.com/horror for the holidays. Got the audio backups. You're an easy place to leave us a comment where we'll see it.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Give us, like our videos. Give us the little, hit the subscribe, hit the little bell, all those fun things.
Hit the subscribe and then hit the second subscribe button for if you actually want to know when something comes out.
Right.
YouTube features, ladies and gentlemen.
And certainly our last episode, I think, has done pretty well. It was really nice having Mike on, and
Yes, it was fun to have Mike.
we're lining up some more guests for future episodes. So I think hopefully, my plan was maybe to do like one guest a month, but maybe if we can at least average 6 guests in a calendar year, I think that would be.
Yeah, we could shoot for that, I think.
And if we can get more, but it's it's kind of hard wrangling people up, and
Yeah, it's like scheduling a guest when we also both have to align our schedules and all the stuff we got going on. But I mean, when it lines up, I'm sure I wouldn't be opposed to doing more guests.
yeah, and we hopefully will have on our next episode or hopefully an episode coming soon. We'll hopefully have Matthew Dupay of Scary Little Christmas on soon to talk about a movie and kind of do the same thing we did with Mike. So hopefully we can get that in, and hopefully I can learn how to pronounce his last name correctly because we've just been kind of guessing at this point.
Well, hopefully I can find out how many women he has in his basement.
Right? We'll figure that out when we get there. And also, follow us on your podcatcher of choice. Subscribe there. Give us 5 stars. Say, especially if you hate it. If you hate this podcast, 5 stars.
Yeah.
These fat fucks just shove garbage in their faces.
It really shows us when you give us a 5-star rating. It puts us on notice.
Yeah, and 5 stars. Man, whoever edits this podcast does a terrible fucking job.
5 stars. Jeff, even though you're recording on the exact same equipment as Jay, why is your voice varying wildly in quality between episodes? No one is quite sure.
Yeah, I'm just a real idiot when it comes to this whole editing thing. I'm trying my best here, guys.
Well, I think it also has to do with the fact that depending on what episode we record, sometimes I sit right up on the mic like I'm doing now. Sometimes I record from way back here.
Right. No, we're trying to get a more permanent setup figured out, but it's taken some time.
I mean, I'm sure everybody listening to this probably has a lot of shit going on. We got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, but we're working on it.
It's not going to stop us from recording the show.
And we're having fun, and I think that's the most important thing. And hopefully listeners are having fun listening.
But yeah, we got some stuff coming up you guys might be interested in.
Yeah, we're hoping to get, if we can get to 1,000 subscribers or whatever on TikTok, then we can do TikTok lives. And you and I have kind of talked about maybe doing like, reading scary Christmas ghost stories. We've got a large compilation of those, and we could go live and like do those.
I think we could do some scary stories. We're wanting to, if we can get it set up, maybe do some board gaming on Twitch, or maybe, even YouTube streaming we could do.
If we could find a working Xbox 360, we could Twitch stream Batman Arkham Origins. Yeah, that was the Christmas game.
Yep.
And I like that's as far as I can tell, I think that's the only Christmas horror like video game that exists or like close to it.
But yeah, we got stuff we want to do going forward. It's just all going to depend on how we can get it scheduled and our lives.
And and we just appreciate people for listening.
But yeah, really, that's all we want you to do is just listen and have fun along with us.
Yeah.
It's maybe we save you, or if you're like a masochist, interest you in watching the American Scream.
Right. I had a friend reach out to me, and he's like, "Oh, like, do you have any Christmas horror movies you recommend?" And I'm like, "Well, certainly listen along to the podcast," and I think he does. I think it's my buddy Ray, but also, like, yeah, dude, there's tons, like, and I kind of gave him a list of good ones, but I'm like, just listen along because we discover new movies all the time. Like,
Yeah, we discovered a lot of good stuff on the show.
and and we hope to continue to do that in the future.
But I mean, if you have someone that you hate, also recommend them The American Scream.
Yeah, recommend them The American Scream.
like,
Recommend them.
Dude, it's the best movie I've ever seen. It was the best thing I've seen since Santa Claus.
Recommend Santa Claus. Recommend Buried Alive.
Yeah. Trapped Alive.
Trapped Alive. Yeah, sorry, not Buried Alive.
Oh, you're mixing up your terrible cave monster movies.
But yeah, Other than that, hey, thanks for listening.
Yep.
We'll
thank
see you again in 2 weeks.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.